The following program contains names, places, and events that have been anonymized or fictionalized for the purposes of protection and safety. The following program is provided for entertainment purposes only, and any commentary from the hosts are strictly conjecture and should not be held as making any definitive statements about the truth or identity of any particular individuals or circumstances. If you or a loved one are involved in an abusive relationship, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 for support.
Happy Monday, we're back again.
We are back, and we have a very great guest, and she was so sweet, and I'm so excited for you to hear her story.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I think you guys are going to like it. Hey, okay, real quick, Hannah, will you please describe to our audience, for anybody who might be new, what a dogfish is?
Yes, we thought it would be a good time for a quick brush up. If you're new and you're like, what's a dogfish? Dogfish is a word that we made up, and it's kind of like catfish, but we took it a step further. A dogfish is somebody who is who they say they are when you meet them in the flesh. They look like their picture, but they're lying about something big in their life. Maybe they have a secret family. Maybe their intentions are not what they say they are. Maybe they are, what's a good one we've had?
Family, or like
right.
Totally lying about their career or just whatever. Yeah. Like they're lying. Everything is a lie. Like we've had people that
they said they could invest their money.
Having throat cancer and like
all
these
lying
things.
About that. Anything big, that's a huge betrayal, deception. And it doesn't just have to be in relationships. While we do primarily, I said do.
We're stupid.
I knew you were.
We're stupid.
We do primarily dating stories, dating detectives, but we're not exclusive to dating stories. So please send us any dogfish stories you may want to share. That's all. That's our glossary vocabulary lesson of the day.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Also, by the way, Patreon, if it's only $5 a month, if you're not on the Patreon, please come join us. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a great community. And we have a live event coming up, a live virtual event. Then we try to do those once a month where we can just like connect and chat and do all the things and get together for our little dating detectives junkies. It's really, really fun. And you get 2 bonus episodes a month. So in one of our Patreon episodes, I actually told a dogfish story of my own, which kind of talk about, other stories, some updates from some other stories. What else do we talk about on the Patreon? Oh yeah, emails.
We get emails. So when you have a story or if somebody has a story that isn't a full episode length, we'll still talk about it and read the story.
Think of like Dating Detectives Quickie.
Yeah, it's a quickie.
But it's a bunch of them.
Want a little afternoon quickie?
It's a bunch of little quickies in one Patreon episode. So it's like, oh my gosh, these dating detective stories are crazy. Well, if you want like 4 or 5 like at a time that are like, that's what Patreon is. Yeah. And we get a chance to kind of really share way more.
We also get guests on Patreon too. So
yeah. And if you just go to the show notes to join the Patreon, but it's $5 a month. And to everyone who already subscribes to Patreon, thank you so much. And thank you everyone just for listening. We are really grateful for we are really grateful for all the support you guys show us. We love you. So
we love you.
Let's get into our episode.
Yes, let's meet Kelsey.
Let's meet her.
Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey.
I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you here. Can you take us away on the story? Like, we're so ready.
Yes.
Do it, girl. Let's hear it.
I don't know if any of us are ready, but yes. Let me take you back. Let me just take you back. I'm 24. I had recently broken up with a guy that I had been together for probably like a year, and it was devastating. I thought it was the end of the world. I ended up going out with my best friend, getting drunk. And this is kind of when things just start to take a big turn. It was supposed to be a girls' night. We were not on the hunt for any men at all. And I distinctly remember my friend had just somehow gotten, those king-size Rice Krispie bars that are like the size of your head?
Yes,
so I do.
Snacks, PI snacks right there.
Yes, some random man at a bar had handed it to her, and we have a video of this. We're sitting at the bar, and we are just like mowing down on this king-size Rice Krispie, and we both look up, and we see this man across the bar. He's by the pool table, and we both look at each other, and we're like, holy shit, that is one of the best-looking men either of us have ever seen.
Wow.
And Yeah, this friend and I have never had the same taste in men. Like anytime she's a friend who every time you like show them the guy you're talking to, they almost like try to pretend like, oh, I see it. And then they do it to you and you're like, yeah, I see it.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's
like, oh, I can
hilarious.
get there if I squint. But both of us were like, holy cow, this
She
guy.
said, I can get there if I squint.
If I'm upside down.
I can get there.
Vision. And so at this point, I'm not sober. I cross the bar. He's texting. This man's texting. I pull the phone out of his hand and I say, I don't know who you're texting, but it should be me. And I
yes, that's my kind of girl. I love it.
I put my name in his phone, my number. And this is I'm 24 at the time. Okay. And I don't put a name. I just put the peach emoji.
Obsessed.
Good. Yes,
Obsessed.
girl. Listen, I love a forward person who's like, this is what I want. Like, this is what we're doing. I love it.
Yeah, we have to go back. Okay. It's 2019. This is when this was less cringe. It's cringe still, but less cringe. And I told him, we're leaving this bar. I told him the next bar we're going to. And I said, you should meet us there. I'm not sticking around, right? Like this is embarrassing. I just put my number in your phone. I have to walk away now. So my friend and I go to the next bar, and 20 minutes later, we look up, and this man who we now know, his name is Liam, walks through the door. And my friend and I are like, no fucking way. He came. This is crazy. And we end up spending the entire night together. Like we are having a grand old time. We're going to every type of bar, like an Irish pub, a sports bar, a club. He is very attentive to me. You can tell he's into me, but he's also making sure my friend is included. Like making sure
that's such a green flag.
Yes, keeping the creepy guys away from us, buying both of us drinks, asking us both questions. We close down the bar, okay? And we're going home. I'm in walking distance. I live within walking distance of downtown. My friend goes to her house. Liam comes to my apartment, and I give him two choices. I said, listen, we can hook up, but I never am going to want to speak to you again. I'm just not I'm not going to try and turn this weird hookup into like a relationship, or we can not hook up tonight. You can take me on a date and then we can see what happens. And he's like, okay, like I want to wait. I'm actually really interested in you. I would like the opportunity to take you on a date. Can I take you on a date tomorrow? And can I still spend the night? And I've said, yeah, of course. I'm like, sure, you can spend the night. It's already like 3-something in the morning at this point. I'm like, what's the night? Really?
You've already spent the night. Like, let's go.
It's basically morning.
You're just taking a nap at my house at this point.
Exactly. And so he ends up spending the night. Nothing happened. I mean, we made out. Right. Nothing. And
I'm such a romantic, and I hate that you're on here because I'm like, this is so fun. And I love your forwardness and how respectful he's being.
I just want to set the tone because he's very emotionally intelligent, it appears. But he also is like 6'4". He's an ex-MMA fighter, so he's very built. He's tatted head to toe.
Oh, boy.
Oh, the tats Lord Jesus, help us.
I'm going to need a picture. I'm going to need, if possible.
His jaw could cut you. You're like, what? This man works. Like he lifts heavy things. Like you're like, he does something with his hands. And at the same time, so when a man like that is then also presenting as very emotionally mature, very attentive, kind.
That's attractive.
Yes. You're like, wow, I did it. I cracked the code. I figured it out. Like I'm
this
good.
Is it. We're done.
They exist.
Yes.
And we got one. Yeah.
So we wake up in the morning, and where I live has like a very fun downtown, right? And he's like, let's get brunch and we'll just make a day date out of it. Like we'll just, see where the day takes us. So we go to brunch. And I think the funniest story from brunch, I have IBS. Okay. There are just certain things I should not be eating. And I'm at brunch and I'm eating the things I should not be eating. And I'm like, I will be right back. I am just gonna hustle to the bathroom. And I come back. I'm not gone long. I come back and he looks at me and he goes, just shit your brains out, huh? And I literally
I love it. Oh my God.
And you were like, why, yes, sir. And it was very cute. And
I'm like, oh,
charming.
that is very true. I did. So anyway, we're on this date. It's great. He's an open book. I find out he's a dad. He has like a 2 or 3-year-old daughter. And then of course that leads to the question of like, well, to have a daughter, there has to be a mother.
Baby
So
mama, yeah.
Typically, yeah.
where's the mom? What's the deal with the mom? And the story I get is that they got pregnant at the end of college. He wanted to do the quote unquote right thing. Remember, this is the Midwest, very conservative, very, traditional values.
Very demure.
Very mindful. So he married her. And apparently, a couple of months into the marriage, she was having an affair with her dad's employee.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes. And so he used the word annul, but he also would say divorced. So I'm like, I don't really know exactly what's happening here, but it was very quick after the marriage. And she is now with dad's employee. He is a single father. He makes it very clear, like, we are a package deal. I love being a dad.
Mhm.
Nothing makes me happier than my daughter. And, she's going to be around. This is how
Legit?
it is.
Okay.
Wait, so math-wise, if that happened, they got pregnant when he was getting out of college. He's not that much older than you.
Mm-mm.
So like still like 25, 26.
Correct. Like he's around the same age. I learned that he does not live in my state. So I'm in Chicago. He's in Wisconsin. I learned this because by the time our date is over, he's like, can you drop me off at my car, which is at my buddy's house? And I'm like, sure. But then on the drive there, I'm like, why am I going to your buddy's house and not your house? Like I'm a little, we have to remember, I don't know this man, right? I met him like 12 hours ago.
Right.
And he's like, well, I don't actually live here. I live in Wisconsin. I'm from here. We moved to Wisconsin because that's where her family is from. And she wanted to be near family when we had the kid. And even though we're not together, it just made more sense. Like I wanted to be able to have half custody, right? So I uprooted my life. But he told me my goal is to come back to Chicago. That's the end goal. That's why I'm here. I'm working on figuring out the neighborhood I want to be in. We're working on figuring out custody. He painted a picture of he's probably going to end up with full custody and he's going to move back to Chicago.
Okay, quick break. Guys, I just listened to a clip. Just a clip, not even the whole one from Dipsy.
Oh, I knew you were
tell you. When I tell you, you are not ready. So this is just for all the romance lovers. If you've read spicy books like ACOTAR, 50 Shades of Grey, Beach Read, Spanish Love Deception, any of the TikTok romance books, this is the perfect app for you. But I wanted to play a selected clip from one of the Dipsy stories, because Dipsy is a female-founded app for spicy audiobooks and spicy stories in general. Mackenzie, I don't think you're ready.
I'm ready. Bring it on.
I used to dream about us in the locker room, behind the bleachers, in the library. There were times when I felt almost tortured just being around you.
Do you still?
It's very, very difficult for me to not touch you.
Oh, the accent and
accent.
Oh,
the accent. That was nothing, y'all.
That's sexy. Okay, I'm into it. I like it.
It's sexy. So that was from, what was that called? Hometown. So
well, it helps you to see also how women might like this.
Yeah, you think? I mean, it's created by women for women, but they have something for everybody. Truly, it's like over 1,000 spicy audiobooks, all by a team of professional writers and top tier narrators. They really do have some sexy narrators, and it can, any character you want: sailor, rugged cowboy, British man, god of the underworld. They even have some fantasy stuff.
That all sounds like fantasy, a fantasy.
It's a super easy app. You just search your favorite romance genres like historical, dark, sports, sapphic. Got some girls for the gays, and also just like anything, truly anything. New chapters are released every week, so you always have something new. And I love that they release they keep adding to the story or adding to the same characters. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm like just want to stick with this same couple or the same character. And you can. It's really cute. Guys, I think it's also just like really healthy. It's a really fun, healthy way to get in touch with your own sexuality. And they have options on the app for wellness, whether it's meditations that are kind of tied to getting in touch with yourself or questions to ask your partner. It's just a great, healthy space to talk about sexual wellness, which is a part of wellness in general. So I know you want it. For listeners of the show, Dipsy's offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/TDD. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/TDD. dipsystories.com/TDD. And that's in the show notes. And also a no-brainer offer. Like, just go listen for free, guys. And I mean, lock the door, but like, go listen for free.
In the locker room.
Oh.
I love
What was
it.
that sound? It's fall. It's almost fall. Well, it's fall. Is it fall? Either way, we got to shift the wardrobe from summer to fall. And Quince is making it so easy. If you haven't heard about Quince, it's the first place you have to go whenever you need to buy clothes, or even more than clothes. They have accessories that have kind of changed my life. That sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not. It's timeless, high quality items. And it also doesn't blow the budget because their whole concept is that they partner directly with top factories. So that Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to you. So you're getting the same thing as a brand name, high quality product, but it's from Quince. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes, which we love. But let me tell you about some stuff that I've gotten from Quince, because that's what you're here for. So I've gotten a cashmere sweater that was $50. Yeah, $50. And it was amazing. I have gotten a silk skirt that was so nice. I got a bag that I wear every day. That's when I say it changed my life. This is my new favorite bag. It's a crossbody bag that, not to shade, but my mom had it from a brand name. And I had been eyeing it for a long time. And then I saw it on Quince and I was like, let me try the Quince version. And mine is just as good, if not better. And I paid less. So, And then an Apple Watch band that is, I get compliments on all the time. That was way more affordable than if I'd gotten it on like Apple. And then I got a present from my boyfriend, which was like a travel dop kit bag thing, because he was very specific about the kind he wanted, and they had it. So not just clothes, but the clothes are really great. Like your staples you will find at Quince. And if you use our code, you get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. So you can make switching seasons a breeze with Quince's high quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/TDD for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/TDD to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/TDD. And that will be in the show notes. Please let me know what you get, because I want to see.
So I'm dropping him off at his buddy's house. And at this point, I'm like slightly confused. What's going on? He's explaining to me, I want to come back here full time. I just can't yet. There's some things I need to figure out, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, great. When am I going to see you again? Or am I? I'm like, what is going on here? And he's like, no, you will. Can I come back next weekend, take you on another date? I really enjoyed today. I would like to continue seeing you. And he's giving off like the world's most green flags. He's very affirming. We still have not hooked up. He's like taken me on a couple, like one date, but like multiple dates throughout the day, right? We walked around town. I think we popped into like an art gallery. Like
That sounds nice.
Cute,
Really nice.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes back to Wisconsin, and true to his word, he comes back the next weekend. I think he came on a Thursday, and he shows up. This was the first time he showed up bearing gifts.
Oh, I like presents. What did he bring us?
Yes. So at the time, I was a bodybuilder. I was in prep. And so.
Good for you.
Oh, you two were probably like the
fit,
hot couple.
It was great. Yeah. And one of the best like protein sources you can eat is bison. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
But I
Wait,
don't.
really?
Yeah, it's like one of the
Oh.
leanest meats.
So
with
he
the
showed
high-
up with like, I brought you a bunch of bison.
Oh yeah, he filled my freezer. You guys, this is a big deal. Bison's expensive.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm sure.
Yes.
So, okay, so this guy brings you a bunch of bison, which to you is like a hot commodity. You're like, yeah. Okay.
And not only that, but he brings me, do you remember Kayla Itzinis when she had the protein balls?
I did that little 1-sheet workout and that thing was hard.
I bet you
She
did.
was like an online trainer,
Yep.
guys.
Oh, yeah. She's still going. She's moving and grooving. So he brought me some of her protein balls, just like little things that it was like he obviously paid attention to like my interests.
Those are mindful gifts, like very thoughtful.
Useful. Like I'm going to eat these. And he ends up making us bison burgers that night. He's in the kitchen. I want to paint a picture. He's shirtless, towel over his shoulder, making the food, bringing it to me on a plate. I'm young. I'm 23 or 24. I can't quite remember if I'd turned 24 yet. I think I was newly 24. I don't have a kitchen table. I'm eating on my couch. He's like bringing it to the couch. And then I'm getting up to start cleaning. And he's like, no. I'm cleaning. Like, sit down. What are you doing? And so I am just more and more being like, what have I stumbled upon? This is ex-boyfriend who? This is
right.
The fastest,
you forget.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, this is the fastest I've ever gotten over someone.
The fastest way to get over someone is to get
exactly.
else.
And this trip is also when he ends up meeting again, hanging out with the same best friend that was out with us that first night. We meet her out for dinner and drinks. She is dealing with a horrendous guy that she's like quote unquote dating, but it is not. We are not monogamous. We are not. She is. He's not. We'll put it that way.
Say no more.
Yeah. So we're dealing with just like ridiculous texts. Liam is like, give me your phone. Let me handle this. He is like crafting the texts to her, man. He's like telling her, listen, you're a badass B. Like she's a lawyer. Well, she's finishing law school. He's like, you're about to be a lawyer. You're hot. You're capable. He's like hyping my friend. And he's like, we don't deal with men like this. These men are insecure. And so and now my friend is like on board. Like she's like, this is great. Like you deserve him after
Does he have any friends? I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. And to the point that like I couldn't pump my own gas. My friend couldn't pump her own gas. We didn't pay for a bill. We didn't.
Wow. I love this guy.
He's incredible. And so this starts to become the thing. Every Thursday, he shows up at my apartment. He spends the weekend. He leaves on Sundays and he goes presumably home. Pretty quickly, I think 2 to 3 weeks into knowing him, St. Patty's Day happens. And if you've ever been to St. Patty's Day in Chicago, you know that it's an event.
It's a big thing, right? Yeah.
It's a big thing.
They dye the river green, right?
Yes. It is so much fun. Anyway, we decide to invite him like, hey, come back. Come to St. Patty's Day with us. We're getting a hotel downtown, us and a couple of our friends. And he comes and we have mostly a phenomenal weekend. I mean, we're all trashed. I say mostly because sometimes things come back to you. You start to remember some things. We're at this bar. It's packed, like person to like you cannot move. It's a club. I look up and I see my ex-boyfriend in the bar.
The one from Carolina?
Not Carolina boy. Unfortunately, the one I broke up with to go to Turks and Caicos with Carolina boy.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
Yes. And I see him and he is very much still like, he is smitten, determined to get me back. Does not know I am there with another man. So Liam is at the bar getting us drinks. I am on the dance floor, not dancing because I can't move. So X comes and talks to me. Liam shows up, hands me a drink, I think puts like his arm around me or something. And it's oozing testosterone. It is.
Yeah, he's like sizing him up.
Making me very uncomfortable at this point.
Oh, no.
Were you a little attracted to it? Were you a little like, ooh, he's jealous? Like,
I think I was scared because there was not even gonna be a fight. There was just no way X was gonna even like, if Liam decided to get feisty or if X decided to get, like, Liam could literally probably kill him with one punch. So I was like, this could be really bad. And they're drunk. And that night, we all end up getting separated because there's like lines out the doors at different clubs. And so we had sent Liam to go get in line at a different club. And now I'm outside with my friend and I see X again. And he comes up to me and he's like, I don't know who you're with, but when you guys weren't there, he was calling you all sorts of names. Like,
What?
He ended up telling me that Liam was saying like, I'm a whore. He's like, yes, but I'm thinking like, you were just saying that. Like, you're
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah, like you're just jealous, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So the rest of the trip goes on without a hitch. We're having a blast. We're having so much fun. He's paying for all of our dinners. I do confront him that night when we get back to the hotel. I'm like, hey, listen, you know, my ex said that you said this. He's like, jaw on floor. I would never say that. Like, why would you think that? That's crazy. And I have no reason not.
Yeah, you have no reason not to believe him.
No reason not to believe him.
Did he say, why would you think that? Or was he very much like, did he get defensive towards you? Or was he more like...
I can't quite remember. I want to say that he just played it cool. Very much like, I wouldn't say that. Like, why would you think I would say that? It's okay. It didn't happen.
Which is more trustworthy than getting super defensive.
Yeah, it really is.
Correct. Also, while we're there, he ends up handing me his phone and telling me like, hey, by the way, this is my password. I want you to always know you have full access to my phone. He said with his ex-wife having had an affair, he knows like,
that's a big deal.
Yes. And I am like, I mean, thank you. I'm not going to go through your phone, but like, this is great to know that if I guess I can. So we go home. He ends up coming again the next weekend. And this time he lets me know that he's bringing his daughter to drop off at his parents' house who lived in Chicago. And he's like, so kind of double whammy. You're going to meet my daughter. And would you like to come with me to drop her off and then also meet my parents?
Woohoo!
And to me, I'm like, this kind of seems great. Like we're not sticking around. We're dropping her off and like leaving. So it felt like the most low pressure way. And also like things very much were moving quickly. And so
how long had it been?
Like 3 weeks, 3 or
4. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, listen, from the beginning, like, you're going to trust me. Like, this is my password. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. But you were so into it. It doesn't feel like
when
it's right, it's right.
Right. Especially after a long distance relationship where you've been just waiting to be able to do like the silly things. Like I just want to wake up with someone. I just want to be able to go to breakfast with someone.
Yes, I get that. Totally.
I want to go to the farmer's market on a Sunday with you.
And you want a low pressure thing. You don't want every time you see each other to be a vacation that you have to plan the trip. I get it.
So I end up meeting his parents. This is when I learned that his dad is dying from a terminal illness.
Oh no.
God.
I want to say it was brain cancer.
Oh man.
Yeah. His mom was not the most warm. She wasn't mean. She just was kind of like, you were like, oh, you would be hard to get close to. But I'm like in the home, sitting on the couch. We're talking, laughing. Everyone, it seems great. He's like, introducing me. I'm spending time with his daughter. Yeah. So around this time, because St. Patty's Day is in March and Easter's in April, correct? Yeah.
Something like that.
Nailed it.
The friend that I had met him with her family owned outside of the city. They owned a piece of land. We call it the farm. There's a cabin on a little pond lake thing. There's like no Wi-Fi. It's been in the family for generations. So we end up inviting Liam to spend Easter there with us. We're like, we're going to do Easter there. And he's like, okay, yeah, I have my daughter that weekend. So we'll just drop her off at my parents' house again and we'll go. And I'm like, okay. So this is the time I ended up spending a little bit more time. We went a little earlier so that we could kind of spend a little bit more time with his family. And a couple of his aunts and uncles were there. So we ended up playing cards. And while we're playing cards, the family is like confirming the story. They are like, his ex she's awful. She had an affair. She blew up the marriage. She sucks. Like they're really just validating that everything he has told me is the story. Like this is what happened. In that day, random. Like I taught his uncle how to use Photoshop for his like new small business he was starting. The dad added me on Facebook, sent me a message after we left the house and was like, it is so good to see Liam happy again. He's found you. Like,
Aww.
so things are just feeling really good. And so we end up going to the farm, and my friend's dad, it was a single dad. He pretty much raised my friend by himself. And so him and Liam really hit it off. They're both single dads. And yeah, and they're vibing, and we are playing cards, I don't know if you guys like go to a cabin ever, but it's like there's just chillest nights. You're like sitting around
playing games, I feel like, and drinking, really.
Drinking, yeah, exactly. And by the time my friend and I are like pooped, we're ready to go to bed. Liam's like, I'm actually going to stay up with her dad and we're going to have some guy time. Okay, great. They're out by the lake, sitting in like chairs, I'm sure, just drinking beer for hours. He finally crawls into bed late. He's like, we just had like the best time, the best chat, the best talk. I'm like, love that. In the morning, my friend's dad pulls me aside and he's like, hey, if you have no intention on being a stepmom, you need to get out now. This man is very serious. You do not want to be the woman who like comes into a kid's life and leaves. He's looking for somebody to be, his wife and another mother to his child. And he's like, I'm getting green flags. I love this guy for you. I think this is the one. Like, I know you, I know him. And so it really is just like everybody is Team Liam. We're like, holy cow, how did this happen? It really felt like it was going to be one of those stories down the line you tell and you're like, yeah, we just knew. Like we just knew. So things at this point now, I've met his family. He's met not my family, but my friend's family. I'm not very close to my parents at this time, both in proximity, but also relationship wise. So I'm not like looking to introduce anyone right away. So him meeting my friend's family was kind of like a similar vibe, a similar feeling. And he is back in Wisconsin and saying things like, I'm trying to make it back to Chicago, but if I can't find a job there, if I can't make it work, I want to build us a home in Wisconsin. When you come visit me here, I'm going to drive you by the plot of land. I already found it. I want to build us a house. He would say things like, I know my ex is my daughter's mother, but you'll be her real mother. You're already such a better mom to her, because she would spend a lot of time with us. Yeah.
That's intense.
Right.
It is, yes.
But also at the time, I was kind of like, you love this person and you're like, wow, I would love to step in and be able to be that for her. And you're also like devastated that this man who is such a good father, had his life wrecked, thought that he had this family, this perfect family.
You're like, let's make that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I had made it pretty clear I had no intention on leaving Chicago from the beginning, but you start to kind of realize, well, if he can't come back here, it's either lose him or move, those are like the options. So you start playing in your head, like, maybe I could. But at this point, we're getting into like May area. I am telling him, as the daughter of a single mother, I know how important it is. My parents divorced and they were both still in my life, but I was telling him, I know how important it is for both parents to know the people who are around their kids. So I said, I would really like to meet your ex-wife if I'm going to continue to be around your daughter.
Yeah. That's not, I think that's respectful. Yeah.
Right. And I don't want there to be any bad blood. Like if we're going to have to co-parent this child together, I would like us all to be able to get along. Like it.
Yes. For the baby. Yeah.
Correct. And so I told him I would really love if when I'm in town, because I was going to go there for Cinco de Mayo.
Which is the first time you're going there, correct?
Correct. I hadn't been there. No. Because he was, trying to move to Chicago. So he was spending all of his time there. And I said, I'd really love to meet her. Maybe we can get lunch or something. He sends me a screenshot of a text conversation with her where she's like, that sounds great. I'll bring my boyfriend. You bring her. We'll get lunch. I think this is actually great. She had ended up dating the guy that she had an affair with. And so I think there was some bad blood between Liam and him. And she was kind of like, This would be a great opportunity for you to, let's all get along here. Exactly. And so I'm feeling good about that. And he asks me, will you come to my place for a Cinco de Mayo party? Yes, of course. I make
Ooh,
the
a
drive.
party. So
A
you'll meet his
party.
pals.
So I go there. It's my first time going there. And the party is going to be at his college friend's house. We're bringing his daughter, but we're dropping his dog off at his boss's house who lives down the street, like 1 block away from him. So he had a boxer. I don't know if you've been around a boxer. They're crazy. And
Yeah, I know that about boxers. They're
Yes.
cute though, but they're crazy as hell.
Super crazy, yes. And it was like, he can't be home alone for this extended period of a time, but usually he just goes to my boss's house because my boss has a dog that they get along really well. He lives a block away, big yard. So I'm like, cool. So we first, before the party, we go to the boss's house. I meet the boss now. So I'm like slowly meeting everyone in this man's life. I meet the boss. The boss is like, oh, I already know all about you. Like, he doesn't stop talking about you. He would FaceTime me sometimes from the job site. Like, if they're sitting and eating lunch, he would FaceTime me and I would like wave to the boss in the background. And
Good, cool
Green
enough.
flags, green flags.
Yeah, total.
great. I'm like, I pretty much know everyone. So we drop the dog off. We go to the friend's house. Now I'm meeting his college friends. And we're sitting around a bonfire by the end of the party, and it's just me and the girls, like the wives and the girlfriends. And they are all like, his ex is, the exact words were like, she's the spawn of Satan. She's like the worst.
What?
Yeah, they're like, she's like the worst thing to happen to him. She ruined him. She's, a bad wife, a bad person. We hate her. Like, really just like saying horrendous things about this girl. But I also am like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, she kind of blew, like, this man's incredible. And how did you fuck this one up? That's kind of crazy.
Right? This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I'm all about learning new things. And one thing that I've learned a whole lot about is about trauma in my past and how it affects things that are going on today in my world. Like, for instance, with my weight loss, just something that's personally something that I've experienced. But you don't realize how much of your past affects the things that you learn today. And one thing that's really great to learn about is positive coping skills and setting boundaries, things like that. BetterHelp is something that you can try when it comes to therapy that will give you the tools to learn those coping skills and be really the best version of yourself. Therapy isn't just for people who've experienced like major trauma. This can be just, for anyone who just needs somebody to talk to who's a little unbiased. With the tools and resources that BetterHelp provides, it'll really help you be a little bit more confident in your everyday and just learning how to deal with things and cope with them. And like I said, just being the best version of yourself that you can be. And you deserve to be the best version of yourself. It's all online. BetterHelp is designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So whatever your schedule is, you can go online and schedule the appointments yourself. You just click on the day, click on the time that works for you. And to get started, you just fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch your therapist at any time. It's just designed to be so convenient for you, which is one thing I love about it. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/TDD today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TDD. This episode is sponsored by HelloFresh.
Yummy.
Okay. So what is HelloFresh? I know you guys have heard of HelloFresh. It's basically where you order your groceries, kind of, but you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. So you can skip your trip to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make that delivery for you. They make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. I am not someone who's crazy about cooking, but HelloFresh really does make it easy. I'm not the cook in my house. My husband is. But we both like it.
You figured it out. I mean, HelloFresh is like foolproof, and you can also do it fast.
They have pictures.
You don't waste. They have pictures, which I love. And they send you exactly what you need, because I'm the queen of buying too many vegetables and then only using a little bit for the meal that I wanted to make. And then I will change them out of my fridge. And sometimes I'll even just be like, I call it the changing of the guard, where I'm like, oh, there's the bad veggies, and I'm going to replace them with some more veggies that are going to go bad in 2 weeks, but
It
not with
saves you
HelloFresh.
money. Yeah, it'll save you money. And I'm telling you, it is everything you need and pre-portioned. And they have so many new flavors to explore with. There's an ever-changing menu of like 50 recipes every week to choose from. And you just pick your delivery date and you choose how many meals you want for that week. Your plans change and your life gets busy. And that's why HelloFresh kind of lets you easily customize your delivery from week to week. So you can tailor everything to your schedule by adjusting your date, skip a week, whenever. And it's really convenient.
John, my boyfriend, and I, we made the New York strip steak, and it had like truffled mashed potatoes with some,
that sounds amazing.
some beans in it. I was like, like we are a restaurant. It was really
We
good.
are. But their seasonings are really good too. Like their food is really flavorful.
Yeah, because they give you like the ingredients that you're not going to really think to buy on your own if you're
And
us.
if you don't have to go to the store and buy like a huge jar. They'll send you the packets, like the exact amount that you need, and it's really flavorful stuff. It's really good.
Yeah, I love it. We have a great offer from them because they want to give you free breakfast for life. So not only will you get the meals that you are picking out, but you also get their breakfasts, which are really good. Really, really good.
So for free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/TDD. That's one free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/TDD.
So that night, little girl is falling asleep in the back of the car. Liam asks me, can I drop you and her off at home? You get her into bed. I'm going to go get my dog from my boss's house. I'll meet you back here. Makes sense. Sure, great. I get her into bed. I have only been in this apartment for like 2 hours at this point before the party. I got there. We pretty much left to the boss's house after a little bit because it's like a 4.5, 5 hour drive. And so I'm in this new space. I don't have the Wi-Fi. I don't have my computer. It's like midnight maybe. I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing at this point? And I am somebody who it's like, I don't sleep well in new spaces. And I also am not going to sleep well in a new space when you're not here. Where are you?
Yeah.
And he's not home. Like he's not coming home. I'm texting him. I'm calling him. Like, where are you? Come home. You're supposed to just be getting your dog. And he does eventually text me. He's like, oh, hey, like we're chatting. I ended up having a beer. I'll be home shortly. Takes him like 2+ hours to get home. When he gets home, he's just acting strange. Like he's not, like he almost went from like lovey-dovey to like, don't touch me. And this is the first time I'm seeing this side of him.
What?
That's just very weird. Earlier in that day, he had been standing in his kitchen and he reached up, the cupboards like above the microwave that like, what do you put in there? Who can reach that?
Who can reach
yes.
that?
And then mine has like a random pipe in it.
Mine has
It's not the right shape. I get
and
it.
wine glasses because I don't drink.
Yeah, like
yeah.
the sweet treats, so you're not tempted. But he had pulled down envelopes and said like, in these, because I had questioned him a little bit about like the ex and what's going on. And he was like, these are my divorce papers. Like, I know you don't like believe me, but these are my divorce papers. And he didn't hand them to me. He just like held up a couple of envelopes and pieces of paper and was like, these are the proceedings. I'm like, okay. So obviously he's not coming home. And I am like snooping at this point because I'm like, all right, well, if you're going to leave me in your house and you're not going to come home and I have nothing else to do, I don't even have your freaking Wi-Fi.
But I want to know what's going on.
I'm looking and I can't locate anything. Like there's no paper. I'm like crawling up onto the counter there's nothing there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I'm like just getting weird vibes. And also the apartment is like, I think we're used to men like not really interior decorating, but there's nothing. There is like a couch.
I was going to ask, what's the vibe of the apartment?
A TV stand. His daughter's room has like her crib, like a kid's dresser. His room
it's a dude's house.
Yes, it's like a single bed. And so there's also just like not that much to be doing here. Like it's whatever.
You don't have to defend yourself, Jess. You're talking to the girls that are like, you
gotta
better look at those divorce papers.
Like,
I'm just saying.
Sorry.
I do not apologize. Sorry.
Yeah, it's we're just protecting ourselves.
Yes.
And so that night he is acting weird and immediately falls asleep. when your spidey senses are going off, you're like, there's something strange here.
We call it femtuition.
Yes. And I said,
Right.
You know what? I have this man's password. I'm going to go ahead and just utilize it. So I get in his phone, and the last person he's talking to is his ex-wife. I knew her name, so I see the name, and I'm like, we're just going to go ahead and check these out. And it becomes very obvious that this is not an ex-wife. This is a current wife.
No, shut up. What?
What did it say? What did it say?
We are married. It is obvious that they're having problems, but they're fighting over like his opinion of a way she acted toward a guy at a wedding they were at. She danced with a family friend, and he's like, I saw the way he looked at you, and she's like, you're overreacting. Like, just the shit that, the men who like make you feel. Yes. And at this point, I literally am like losing my mind. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm finding more and more incriminating evidence. And so I wake him up with the phone open to him, to the text, and I slam it on his chest. I said, what the fuck is this?
Yes,
and
girl.
He looks at me and he goes, and I quote, that's not my phone. It's 3:30 a.m. in his apartment.
Oh, whoopsie doodle. I grabbed somebody else's phone.
Oh, no.
Hold on, let me go talk to the other
Silly
person.
me.
He said deny.
In that moment, you're like, I don't even know how. You're not expecting that. Like, you're expecting a lie, but you're not expecting that. So I'm like, mouth agape, just like staring at him like,
I'm dead.
What can you possibly mean? And now he's agitated. He is very angry. I go into his bathroom. I'm having like an anxiety attack. He comes in. He's telling me I'm crazy. I'm seeing
turning it on
things.
you.
Yeah,
Sure.
He's like, it's not what it looks like. Basically saying I'm crazy. I didn't see what I saw. He has the right to argue with his ex-wife.
So now it is his phone arguing with his ex-wife?
Now it is his phone.
Oh, okay. Cool.
There never was a moment of like, okay, it is my phone. We just moved
breezed past that.
Yeah.
Love it.
It didn't work. And he was like, all right, I thought maybe that one would work. I guess.
And you would just be like, oh, it's not your phone. Okay, my bad.
Oh, okay. Time to go to bed. And so then at the end, there's a moment where he goes from being enraged to like calm, cool. And he's like, so like, let me guess, you're going to like leave. And I'm like, what are you literally saying? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of drunk. It's a 5-hour drive home. It's 3:30-ish in the morning. I have alcohol in my. No, I'm not. But I will in the morning. And so he's like, okay, well, do you want to like sleep on the couch or something? And I'm just like, what on earth? So I go. I'm like, yeah, actually, I would like to be on the couch. So I go, I'm laying on the couch. I don't sleep. I obviously am like texting my best friends because at this point, like I'm true crime. Okay. I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm going to be murdered. But in the morning, what I remember is he slept in, baby girl wakes up. And I still am like a little, like I'm like willing to accept an alternate story. So I'm like, it's not her fault. He's asleep. He was wasted. So he's not going to be up for a while. So I take her to their little community has a like playground. I take her to the playground to just go on the swing sets. And we're like playing. He eventually comes out. He's like, hey, I'm awake now. You can come in. I think we're going to talk about it. We're going to have a conversation. But instead, he literally is just like, please don't leave me. I'm not married. I haven't been lying to you. I was drunk last night. Yes, I was texting her because he basically tells me like, you don't understand what it feels like to have a baby with somebody. So like, I don't love her like that, but she is the mother of my child. And
yeah,
so
but you still shouldn't.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a type of way when I see her interacting with other men. And at this point, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not really buying it, but I have to go. So I tell him like, I'm gonna drive home. I'm just going to go back. I'm going to go back to Chicago and think about this. So I leave, I go back. He spends the next week like blowing my phone up. Like, I want to make it up to you. I'm so sorry.
Did he send you a shipment of bison?
No, I did not get. I got no more bison, which is so disappointing. And after about a week, of him like pretty much love bombing and just saying things like, you know that you love me. You know that what we have is special. Let's not blow it up, blah, blah. I come to the conclusion that I can't do this. So I tell him, if you end up moving to Chicago, let's talk then. Then we have something to talk about. But until then, I'm just now no longer comfortable with this situation we have going on. If you end up coming here, great. If you don't, we're never we don't need to speak. And he starts sending me job listings saying I'm interviewing for this. He tells me he has a bunch of interviews lined up. He sends me a text, this big long text, basically saying you are everything to me. You are all I think about when I think of my future. I want you to be my daughter's mother. I want you to be my wife. I am willing to move, even if it doesn't make sense for my ex-wife to move too. That's how bad I want to be with you. I will do summers with my daughter. I will drive back and forth. I will do whatever.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so he is pulling out all the stops to get me to get back with him, essentially. And I tell him, no, I'm willing to have a conversation with you the next time you're in town. But if you're not going to move here, we don't really have anything to talk about. That's when he's telling me he's going to. So then about a week after I officially end it with him, he's still sometimes texting me. He's doing that thing where he'll text you and be like, hey, how's your day? Just thinking of you. And you're like, I'm sure you are.
I saw something and it made me think about you.
Yeah.
And any excuse.
We're now in June. He's like, I'm coming. I have all these interviews. I want to see you. I've made the official decision. I'm moving. It's no longer an if. I am. My parents are helping me move. It's happening this weekend, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to let you know because you said essentially if something ever changed. I'm like, okay, we can have a conversation, but I still haven't changed my mind. He's like, I will make you fall back in love with me. You will see, blah, blah, blah. And I go to bed this night. While I'm an early sleeper, I'm in bed probably by 9:45. And at 10:30, he had texted me, I miss our sex, which is something he would never say. When I woke up in the morning and saw it, I responded back, weird thought to have at 10 p.m. after expressing your desire to get me back. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
But LOL. I think I just said weird thought to have after the other text you were sending. And the next text from him is, I'm sorry for everything I've ever said to you. I never wanted to be with you. I love my family. I love my wife. And please don't ever talk to me again.
What?
And I'm like, what the hell? And so
Are you freaking kidding?
I immediately am like, this is strange. So I get on my phone because I'm even more convinced that text then had to be her.
But I'm so confused. Okay, keep going.
I have a message in my Facebook message. You know how they used to, I don't know if they still do, the ones where it's you're not friends. So they get sent to the
requests
folder
or something.
The request folder.
Yes. All the time. Oh my gosh.
I see a message in my request folder and it ends up being 6 messages. And it's his ex, current. It's the baby mama. And she's like, hey, I'm so-and-so's wife. How do you know my husband? I saw the text that he had sent you. So the night before, when he was trying to convince me that I still was in love with him and he could win me back, he had resent me a text I had sent him a month before, very lovey-dovey, before it blew up, right? Where I'm laying here in bed thinking about how I wish you already lived here and I can't wait to start our lives together. Just something mushy, right? He had sent it back to me and said, when he was I will convince you to love me again. He was I'm going to get you back to this. We're going to get back to this. And she was I read the text that you sent him, that he sent back to you. I need to know the truth. Have you ever met him in person? He says,
yeah.
He says he met you one time and you guys got ice cream and that's it.
Oh boy, that's what we're calling it. Ice cream.
And so I literally am no way. And she's sending me screenshots. So apparently he sent me the text saying, I'm going to make you fall back in love with me, then showed back up where she was and re-proposed to her, basically got back down on one knee and was I want to continue to work on things. So they had been having problems. She was a politician. She was on the campaign trail. So she traveled a lot.
Okay.
And their problems were apparently, they really had them, but they were apparently rooted in the fact that like the life he wanted to live was not the life she wanted to live. And they were like trying to figure out like
Well,
how.
yeah, he wanted to be dating all these other ladies.
Correct. She didn't know that.
That's just a difference in values, it seems.
So they had been having issues and he had gone back over and re-proposed to be like, I want us to start over on our marriage. I want us to work on things, blah, blah, blah. And she at that point was like, show me your phone and or something. A parent got a hold of his phone and sees these texts between us and finds me on Facebook. I was not difficult to find. And I respond back to her. I said, this is crazy. I don't think it's really a Facebook conversation. Here's my phone number. You can call me. Mm-hmm. So she calls me. And you can hear Liam in the background having a literal meltdown. Like this man he is screaming. He's like, hang up the phone with her. She's a fucking liar. And at this point, I literally am like, ask him where he was on St. Patty's Day. And so she's like, where were you on St. Patty's Day? And you hear him punch the wall. And he's like, she's a fucking, and I was like, ask him who he spent Easter with. And she's like, who did you spend Easter with? And
no.
She was traveling for what was happening is how he was getting away with it was she would travel for work on the weekends, Thursday to Sunday. He would leave my house and get back in time. And she was under the impression either A, he was never leaving Wisconsin, or B, he would, but he was just visiting his parents. But he was staying with me.
And the daughter
would get dropped off at the parent. So the daughter
every time.
Yes, she never spent the night with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What?
Or a couple of times she had the daughter in Wisconsin still, and he was saying, I'm seeing my parents, or there's a wedding, or there's a reason for me to go back without you.
And the apartment? He had a separate apartment?
So I feel like
we'll get there.
There's loose ends. There's things I still do not know. I do not know. But my theory is, and we can get there, my theory is she doesn't know about that apartment. Because what I come to find out through conversations with her is that I'm one of many. She uncovered that there was like 5 of us.
What? 5?
Yes. So, okay. So we're on the phone, and at this point, she says to me, she's like, he's starting to get violent. I'm going to let you go because I need to handle this. And so we hang up the phone. But her and I stay in contact texting-wise, and we start to piece some things together. She tells me that she never had an affair. He accused her of having an affair because literally her dad just had a male employee who was attractive, and he decided they were sleeping together. So she never cheated. Well, according to her, who knows? She never cheated. They were still going to church every Sunday.
Oh, that's so mean.
That he would go back. Yeah, they were.
He would get back in time to go to church. He would leave you and go to church with her.
Yes. Or they would like watch online. Yes.
Oh my God.
So they were a big yes. So they were a big traditional Christian family. Yes. This is when I find out her dad owns a bison operation. And I'm like, no fucking way. I start putting pieces together. So then I ask her, I have a question. Do you eat Kayla Itzina's protein balls?
No.
So she was ordering them for herself, and he was intercepting them in the mail and just bringing them to me.
No.
Disgusting.
No.
Yes. And she's like putting
not the bison.
Not the bison and the protein bars. So she's putting these things together too. I ask a little piece of the story. His dad is a retired police chief. And one time when I was over there, I had jokingly been like, has Liam ever been in the back of your cop car? Has he ever been arrested? And he's like, no, this kid's clean. I find out the papers he was holding up were not divorce papers. He had gotten arrested for domestic violence after throwing her through a wall when she was 9 months pregnant.
Oh my God.
She's sending me photos of bruises.
That conversation when you were on the other end of the line sounds scary. I mean,
and it's starting to make more sense now why she was like, I'm going to let you go. So we're just putting things together. I learned that there was a moment in my relationship with him where I had made it very clear I'm not ready to be a mother. So let's please not do things that maybe could make me become a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay. And then one day, actually on Easter, he said, you know what? Never mind. I'm actually going to make it impossible for you to get away. And I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And then let's remember, he's like 215. I, at the time, was like 130. I'm just a little girl. And
oh my God.
yeah, had made comments to me basically being like, I hope that this results in a baby. I want another baby.
I'm so sorry.
And so it didn't. And I'm telling his wife this on the phone over text. And she tells me that's what happened in college. That's actually how I ended up getting pregnant. But then because we're traditional from the Midwest and Christian, I was like, well, I'm keeping it. And if I'm keeping it, you're in this too. So we're getting married. So they had been dating, but she had wanted to, be safe and didn't want kids. He insisted upon not doing that. So I'm starting to learn more and more. And she's like, Kelsey, he's trying to trap you. He has an impregnation kink.
Breeding.
Yes. He, wanted to get you pregnant. And so then at this point is when she tells me, by the way, you're not the first and you're not the only. And we start putting together, like, are there other babies out there? Like, this is crazy. She starts asking me, have you ever met my daughter? Because he shouldn't have been, that shouldn't have been happening. I didn't know he was taking her out of the state every time. I certainly didn't know he was taking her to meet you. I'm like, yes, I've met her many times. I'm sending her photos of me and her daughter. She at this point is like, I'm obviously divorcing him. Will you talk to my attorney? And I at first was like, sure, yes. The other thing that was interesting is we do end up on the phone again. And she tells me, she says, hey, listen, I don't think you're lying, but I want to let you know. I spoke to his dad and his dad says he's never met you. He does not know who you are and that you're crazy. And I am like, no fucking way. And so I call the dad and I am just ripping him a new one. And he says, no. She's crazy. I never said that. They're not together. And so he starts saying basically the same things about her to me that he said about me to her. So at this point, I literally am like, you're all crazy.
The apple does not fall far from this tree, it sounds like.
It also comes out, this man does not have brain cancer. This man's not sick.
Oh my God.
I would have thrown my pen across the room. This is a family of dogfish.
God.
He is still alive to this day, which, I mean, great. I'm glad. But he was not terminal. I was told he had months to live. This man was.
And did the dad say this at the time too? Like, or just
no, that the wife.
Oh my God.
Because I said to her, like, well, maybe he's fucking confused because, the brain thing. And she literally was like, what are you talking about? Like, this man is not sick.
What did she say about all of this?
So there were a couple of things that she was flabbergasted. So apparently the parents would take down their wedding photos that when I would come over because she was like, she's like, our wedding photos are all over that house. And I'm like, no, they're not. I'm there like at least once a month, twice a month. And she's like, while they're there. The friends that we did Cinco de Mayo with, this is the piece that I still am like, I don't get it. Those were her friends.
Wait, what?
Why are they saying this?
I don't get it.
I've no clue. His boss, so the one thing that along with the apartment, like there are just loose ends that were never closed. Like I have no clue. I don't know what the apartment is. I don't know why everyone lied for him. I don't know what the deal was. They ended up getting officially divorced like 4 or 5 months later.
I feel very sorry for their daughter.
Yes. He's now engaged again. So we'll see how that goes. A single mom. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone is listening and thinks it's you and wants to chat and have some support, we're here for you.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
So they eventually ended up getting divorced. His dad, Liam's dad, did reach out to me when all this was going on, and he would tell me when Liam was coming into town because he would say things like, I want you to be safe. And so that's when I realized like, oh, I'm not safe. I need to move. So I didn't stay in that apartment. I ended up moving. I actually ended up moving to a different city and then an entirely different state within a couple of months. Yeah, it's the only time I've ever actually felt like I was living in a Dateline episode.
Oh my God.
And you're just like, I would check out my window every morning to see if his Cadillac was in the parking lot of my apartment complex. I lived downtown, like I said, so I would walk to work. And so walking to work was very scary. I stopped walking to work. I had a guy friend spend the night at my apartment many nights before I moved. Terrified. I mean, you just think to yourself, like, if he can throw a pregnant wife through a wall,
what
like,
will he do to you?
The woman who I'm sure in his brain like blew up his life. And,
right.
Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to hear, Mackenzie, if you have any thoughts, like, so this whole thing with the friends and the family corroborating, and we don't really know everybody's connection, it sounds like, to this day. Like, Mackenzie, as a PI, what would you do to find out more details about the truth behind all of this?
Surveillance.
Like, where do we even start?
I would infiltrate the family. I would become friends with one of them I would find a way to I would find what they are interested in and become interested in it too. And I would infiltrate and I would become their friend and find out more. Like it would be a whole fucking mission. Like it would be a whole thing. Like I would become their friend and learn more.
That college friend group, I wonder if any of those women had slept with him.
That's what, yeah. Like,
yeah, that one gets me at, like, as a woman, I don't know. It's disturbing. And it was women and men. It was married couples and some of them had kids and it was the most like wholesome, like this wasn't like Cinco de Mayo party, like ripping tequila from the bottle. Like people were making like homemade guacamole, a little potluck. We're sitting around a fire, making little s'mores. There's kids running around. Yeah, that to this day is a huge piece for me that I'm like, I don't understand what the game was. Like, I just don't.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
So he was in Fantasyland. He was playing pretend. He was playing house.
Yeah. Big time.
And she obviously was like wrapped. It sounds like her having a child with him and made her want to make it work.
I think in case she didn't stay, he wanted to back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, oh my God, I want to infiltrate so bad.
It makes me wonder. The biggest piece I wonder is like, if there were multiple of us, how many met the family?
And then why would they participate? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, why?
Yeah, what's in it for them? Yeah.
Like
and then why is the dad warning
I'd be like,
you?
son, get the hell out of here. What are you doing? I would tell every single one of them girls, y'all, he's doing this to everybody. I don't know what y'all thinking.
And it sounds like they were, dad was a little dogfishy.
Yes.
But mom seems like she was aware of the problems.
The whole family's dogfishy.
Why is he warning you about Liam coming to town when he's also saying, let's lie to this girl?
Because he knows better.
I
think he knew this could be dangerous. I think it became real to him.
He just thought his son was like being boys. He has a lady on the side. That's disgusting. But is that all he thought?
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot you don't know. And I think for a while, it really messed me up because I was like, I feel like I did everything. I asked every question you could ask. I met every person you could meet in their life. I checked the court system. Like, I don't know what else. I mean, you meet the boss, you meet the college friends, you meet the family. I mean, his sister, he had an older sister. I forgot about this, who had a kid. She was probably late 20s. She was pregnant, had her second kid. We were the first people at the hospital. I was the third person on this earth to hold his niece.
Oh.
And she was kind to you and didn't say anything or give
completely. I mean, she had just pushed a baby out.
Sure, yeah, she's not like.
So she was. I don't even think she said like, "Who are you?" He even had asked me, like, will you take a photo of me and the baby? And I later found out from the wife, he told me, I just want this photo. He sent that photo to his wife because his wife wasn't able to be there.
Wow.
I don't understand why a community of people supports this? Is he saying that they're non-monogamous and that you know about her? Like, even that.
If they know, then they don't need to take down the pictures.
Exactly.
But they would confirm that they were divorced. They would confirm she had an affair. They would confirm it was her.
So is he lying to them, but also living with her? Like, the daughter's going to say something.
Well, she was talking, but not like, I mean, they're at that age.
Yeah.
2 and 3. Like, they say all sorts of stuff.
Breaks my heart for her.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Dang.
How about your friend and her father that got so close to him? What was their reaction?
Yeah.
Flabbergasted. Like, everyone.
They were dogfished too.
Yes. Everyone was like, no fucking way. Like, there's not possible. I will say there was one person from her family. So her sister-in-law was like, I get a weird feeling from this guy. And she was the only one. Yes. And everyone was like, oh, come on, Hillary. Like, you're being ridiculous. And then now so that friend is still one of my best friends. She just had a baby shower a few months ago and I saw the sister-in-law. And I was like, do you remember? This is the first time. It had been almost 6 years. And this was the first time I had seen her because we moved to a different state. We're not around them. I was like, do you remember Liam? And she was like, oh my God, whatever happened? And I finally filled her in and she was like, I knew something was up and no one saw it.
What did she have any explanation or just it was a gut feeling?
No, she just said it was a vibe. Like she was like, he gave bad vibes.
Ugh. It's a hard thing. A lot of times this happens where we all hear as much as we can. We do as much as we can. Like, you are not the only person that's come on here and it sounded like a perfect fairy tale.
Yeah.
How did you get yourself back out there? How did you trust yourself again?
Well, I think the biggest thing, I felt like an idiot in the sense of like,
so common.
I kind of felt like when I met Liam, it felt like the universe was validating my decision to break up with long distance, right?
Yeah.
And then when this happened, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. Like, that was a mistake. Like, at least he's honest. The biggest crime he did was not move across the country to live near me.
Yeah.
So getting back out there, I kind of took a moment where I was like, okay, now I almost have to heal from two things because I didn't actually take the appropriate time at all to heal from the breakup that with a good guy. And now I have to heal from this happening. I didn't really date again until I moved states. I moved to Arizona. I initially moved I moved to a suburb with a friend. She had an extra room in her apartment. She was like, you can live here until you figure out what you're going to do. So I lived with her for a few months. And then I ended up moving to Arizona and I didn't really start dating seriously until I got here. And
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's allowed to take time.
Yeah. I think I just had to realize that there was nothing different I could have done.
Yeah.
You did everything. I did everything.
We're never going to know 100%.
No.
And that's very hard to be comfortable with, but it's also okay.
Yeah.
But that
Sadly.
must have hurt really bad. Like, that must have been really hurtful. Like, I'd been so pissed, but also hurt. Like, were you more pissed or more hurt?
I think I was also confused. I think like something to understand is at this point, I'm literally this little blonde Midwest girl who has barely left the Midwest. But like this, I was more confused. I was pissed. I was hurt, but I was more confused. Like, how did this happen to me? Like, how did we get here? I was pissed for her sake. And also, I will admit, it was kind of funny. Like, I did find it a little funny. Like, I was like, no way that this happened. Like, no way these past few months
have to laugh.
Were a lie. That's insane to me. So there was a lot of laughter. I think the sadness for me, it was more sad because you have to remember, like, I had cut it off with him. Like, we weren't together by the time the wife contacted me. So I had already kind of emotionally grieved the relationship, but it was very hard. Like, I was very sad when that all happened the few weeks before. I cried a lot. I was like, this sucks because it felt so real. It felt like this, I finally found my person, and you build this like idea in your brain of what your future is going to look like. So I think that was when I was more sad. Then when this happened, I was probably more angry, but also like, this is hilarious.
Like,
in the worst way.
what the fuck?
Has anything, now that happened, did you apply anything that you learned from it to that? Like, were you more skeptical or anything like that going forward?
I think I learned that even though, like, if we're going to talk about the 5 love languages, even though words of affirmation, like I'm a big words girl, I learned that they're the easiest one to fake. Like, it
Oh,
is.
that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's like men are dumb, but they're not dumb enough to not know the literal right words to string together to say to you.
Yeah.
And so something I've applied is like, words truly don't mean anything if like the actions aren't, meeting them too. And I also learned that we need to take people more at face value and not play mental gymnastics with their character. Because I shouldn't have even been still texting him at all when I realized like the wife was still involved, but I still was kind of playing mental gymnastics of like, well, maybe they're technically still married, but separated. And maybe like, you want to convince yourself that there's a pocket of good in there. And so
He also said, here's my phone password. Like he got ahead of everything to
that blows my mind.
Yeah.
I wonder if he just was like, she'll never actually use it.
He called your bluff.
I also think so. The texts with her about meeting for lunch were fake.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
So I think he had changed her name in his phone.
Totally.
To just somebody else.
Or just, like just made it up. Like you can fake you can Photoshop AI. Oh God.
Well, I think that's why he was comfy with me having his phone password, because I don't think her name for a long time. But I think he would change it back when he wasn't with me. And so I think that's where he messed up on Cinco de Mayo, because I don't think he actually changed her name back because he was in town.
I'm still not over him being
whoopsie doodle.
That's not my phone.
That's not my phone.
I don't know where that is.
I'm waiting for the day I get to use it. I do think it is a great excuse. I don't want to use it in the same way, but I'm just like waiting for the moment that I can be like, that's not mine.
Somebody like sees text that you're planning them a surprise party.
Yeah, I'm like,
and you're like, that's not my phone.
That's not my phone.
That's the only time I would allow you to be gaslighting someone.
They're like, that's crazy because there is a Polaroid of you and your best friend in the phone case. Like, well, that's happened.
I'm being framed.
I'm being framed.
It's disgusting. Yeah, no, but the idea of like needing to laugh at it brings us a lot of joy. And I know that at times it's not laughable, but like it's so cathartic to just be like, this is so crazy. And the only thing I can do is bond with the other people that get it. Yeah. And I hope it's like comforting that you get to do that. And we're really grateful that you've shared it with us, because Liam, like, what is he doing now? I know he's engaged, but I'm sure there are things we don't know.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes. Actually, before this, I was like, I'm going to do some investigating. So I unblocked on Facebook, and he's engaged to a gorgeous, gorgeous girl who they have kids that are around the same age. They have like beautiful family photos on the beach. He posts like to me, it's a red flag. The men who post like super sappy captions on like Mother's Day that go on and on and on, or like on like their wife's birthday. I'm like, no, something fishy is going on here.
You're
like,
trying to prove something.
You're trying to prove something. Yeah. And he does that for her for Mother's Day and for her birthday and stuff. And I'm like, oh no. Yeah. I debated. She
said, oh no.
Yeah. I like debated. I was like, is it my place to say, like, she appears to be a very nice, pretty, innocent girl. And I was like, I wonder. But then I was like, you know what? No, not my monkeys, not my circus. I'm going to let that one go ahead.
You have to protect yourself. You have to look out for number one.
Wow. I don't think I'll be able to sleep. Like, why would the parent take down the pictures to hide? I just don't, unless he dogfished the parents too and was like, oh, we're not together like you. I don't know. Like you need to take these down because I want to meet this new girl or something.
Oh, yeah. What I think the reason the mom came off cold was because I don't think the mom was on board. I think she was like, I don't like this. And I think the dad was like, I love this.
It is disgusting. Isn't that gross how it's like we put so much pressure on women, like even with sex, where it's like, oh, you like hold on to your purity, and then guys have sex and you're like, oh yeah, good for you. It's like
it's different.
It's so not fair that they're like, you can be an asshole. Like that's like that's what men do. And the guy, like, I hate when there's like generational support of that. It's like we have to teach all people, no matter what your gender is, not to be a dick. Like, I hate this dad.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I'm not into it. I don't like it.
It's not cool.
Thank you so much for sharing this story. Like, I don't think the parents thing taking down the pictures is common, but I think people in situations like it sounded like he thought his marriage was going to be over, maybe or maybe not, but he wanted to back up just in case, and he wanted to feel good
He
about
wanted
himself.
5
And you were
backups.
you were giving him the energy that he needed or whatever. I think that's got to be it.
Yeah.
But every time I hear a guest tell their story, one thing that it always reminds me of is at the end, I'm always like the community. Like you had your friends and you had people that were right there with you. And I'm sure that helped you to heal a little bit, right? Like kind of people were like, dang, that it happened to all of you.
Right. And there was, yes, that was super helpful. One thing, my friend who was there with me, it's also one of her favorite stories to tell because she's like, no. Like this happened to us. Like,
Yeah, she was there on half the dates.
This happened to us.
Yeah. This is, yeah.
He bamboozled us both. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so.
And just to wrap it all up, he did say those things in Chicago. I did end up on St. Patty's Day. I did end up having a conversation with that ex later on. And he was like, Kelsey, why would I have lied to you about that?
Wait, so he literally was talking to your ex saying,
I'm a
horrible
whore.
things about you?
He's in town because like basically to party. And like he came with me. He has no intentions to be. Yeah. Oh yeah.
what's the goal? I don't get the goal.
I have no clue. I think he's just a fraud. I have no clue. I don't know.
I cannot wait to hear what people
literally
think
the
about
most
him.
confused ever. Can I look him up and call him and be like, dude, what, like,
Explain.
yeah.
Well, he probably would be like, I don't know her.
What are you talking about?
She's
Who is
crazy.
she? What?
Oh, he did the classic "My ex is crazy," which is a classic.
He'd probably be like, I've never been married. I don't.
That's not my phone.
That's
not my
phone.
life. Yeah,
That's not my ex.
He's a real treat. What a fun little guy. Oh,
Whatever.
Can't.
Well, thank you
can't.
again so much, Kelsey. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, first of all, I'm floored.
I know. I liked this. I mean, I didn't like this story. I don't like any of these
We
stories.
never like the stories.
No,
but
never.
What the hell?
What the hell? This
The
was a
parents?
good, like, I know. This was a good, she wasn't, I mean, it's traumatic, but I'm glad she like got out when she did. We just are left with so much like, what the fuck? Like, I wish we had more answers.
Can we do a social media poll on this? I want to know, would you cover for your kid if they were like, Mom, listen, I got this girl on the side. Like, I want to know, are you someone that should be a whole Patreon episode. Like, I would love to dive into parents and how far they would go to protect their kid or like help them lie to someone.
Remember, well, this was on Patreon, actually. I don't want to I'll tell you, I don't care. Remember his, there was like a green card marriage situation and the mom knew about that. And he was not telling his new partner about the fact that he was literally married and his mom was in on it. Like, I feel like it's obviously you're like, no, I would never do that. And then the gray area of your child doing something deceptive could put you in a tricky situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say I also have a brain tumor and just throw that lie on top of there.
So much. Like, what the hell?
Why did that? I don't understand.
And the baby, like introducing the baby to another. I don't like it. I don't like any part of it. But I just don't understand how everyone was just so like, okay, like we'll cooperate with this. Like,
well, okay. I think he was dogfishing his friends and his boss. Yeah. Like, I think there's an element of that lie that he told anybody what he needed to tell them in order to convince them the baby mama or wife was Satan. Like, he just convinced them what he needed to convince them. But then, like, how did he get away with having a separate apartment? Obviously, he didn't tell his parents. I mean, why? I'm still like, there's just so many lies. So many lies.
I wonder if the whole apartment thing, I wonder if he set it up, like he not started a fight, but like he was like, well, if we're going to break up, I'm not sure how this is going. I'm going to get another apartment. But he used that as a way to have another apartment so that he could further.
Like an out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. There's so many whys. There's too many Q's, not enough A's. That's what I
there's
say.
And there's always more Q's. Always. There's never enough A's. There's always more Q's than A's.
Well, let's go through like her initial courtship with him because she kind of did everything right.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate because sometimes it is what it is, y'all. I was just thinking this. I posted it on her story. Just the reminder of how our stories are not meant to scare you, but they are just meant to give you more information. Things happen. Like you can't live your life shut in your room and never go outside and never take risks.
Yeah.
But now you can go outside and just have a little bit more vocabulary, a little bit more framework for when these things happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's gonna happen. People are gonna mess with you and it sucks, but we can get through it. And I don't know. I just was like, this is just a sick, sad example of her doing everything right. I don't know what she
really did though too. She really did do everything right. So it kind of sucks. But I want to know who the new girl is, and I want to know I just want to know what he's told her and what she thinks is his past. You know what I mean? I'm so curious.
I agree with you. I didn't like when he was trying to get her back and saying things like, you love me. Like, what we have is special. And I've been in that position before where I have been very confused by an ex. Like, I just had a pang of connecting to that because it seems nice. Like, oh, like you love me. No, you know that what I can do for you is like nothing else. Like, we're special and I'm going to show you again. I'm going to get you back to this. And it's like, you're still being controlling. You're still being manipulative. It's weird. It was, I don't know. I just wanted to point that out because I feel like that was a weird move and it happens.
It's the same thing. It wasn't right. And she did everything right. But I do like how confident and strong she seemed. And it seems like she's kind of gotten, past it.
One more thing I definitely want to mention again. I know we talked a lot about it with her, but just the fact that if you consent to having sex with somebody and then they change the way that they use protection or don't use protection, that's
like if they take the condom off.
Yeah. And if they don't pull out and if they don't respect whatever boundary you've put in place, it's non-consensual. Like, period.
Absolutely. It's not.
No questions asked.
Yep.
And you have all the rights to feel as if you've been violated. I know it feels like gray area, but it's actually not. And that's really hard to hear. And very sad. That probably happens incredibly, incredibly common scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not, we've talked about this before. It's not necessarily a clear bad guy, stranger in the alleyway situation, which a lot of people associate.
It's not
with.
Right at all, but it is. You're right. It's not clear. Like, this was in a dark alley. I got punched in the face.
Right.
And
you could easily get out of that.
Yeah.
You could easily walk away from that situation being like, well, I consented to sex and I wanted to have sex. So it was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But if that came up for anybody, we're really here for you and we get it. But, oh my God. One of the most genius things she said, words of affirmation is the easiest love language to fake. What do you think about that?
She's not wrong. If that is your love language, words of affirmation, is so easy just for anybody to say, oh, you're so beautiful and you're so great. It's easy, but it's harder to show things. That's why words of affirmation, like, anybody can say it. But
yeah, it's
also a really good point.
We've talked about like meeting unmet needs and mirroring before and kind of like learning enough about you that they know how to give you what you need to trust them. And that would be the easiest one to do it. It's like, oh, I know what their insecurities are. Now I know how to say exactly what I need to, which is so sad because when you're in a good relationship, that also happens. Like in a healthy relationship, you learn that about somebody so that you can make them feel better. But then sometimes people are bad.
Some people use it to prey on those unmet needs. And it's very sad. It's very sad that individuals can act that way. But again, we hope that at least like podcasts like this will kind of just help open your eyes a little bit, that these are, a lot of people are like, there's no way that happened. And then you hear other people, it happened to other people and you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. Like I thought it happened to me, but I wasn't sure, but now it happened to her too. And hearing it from the outside looking in, like, it is absolutely what happened to me or whatever. And you can relate to it. So it's really
this dreamy guy. No, a lot more to this story. I'm glad she had her friend.
We will let you know if we get updates from her, and we really
Yes.
appreciate her sharing her story because it's really brave. So if you have a story that you want to share with us, please feel free to email us, let us know. And don't think that any stories are too like, oh, they're not crazy. A lot of people are like, I don't know if this is crazy enough. You guys, these stories don't have to be crazy. Like this is normal everyday stuff, apparently. So share it with us and let us be a voice for you. If you need one, let it like stand on our platform. You can have it. Like we'll share it with you, you know?
Please. Yes. And the Patreon's fun because you can connect more directly with other people who
Sense of
are
community,
in the community.
which is what a lot of our guests have said that have really helped them heal from these things is the sense of community. And I think that that's really cool.
The email to submit, if you have a story, is investigate@thedatingdetectivespodcast.com. Right?
Yay, thank you for sharing that, Hannah. But I do think I know it now, but I'm going to let you
I
just
think you do
say it 'cause-
too. I hope I got it right. Now I'm
You
like
did.
doubting myself.
No, don't doubt yourself.
But it's in the show notes,
Yes.
as is
So-
our social media and Patreon and ads and
Continue
love.
to share our, do you guys know how many people that have reached out and said, oh my God, like my life has changed. I did not realize that I was in this kind of relationship. And then my friend shared your podcast on my social media and I saw it and oh my gosh, and I have this story and then someone else learns from it. And whenever you share, number one, it supports the podcast, but number two, it really brings people that are experiencing those things into this community that they might really need. So we really appreciate it when you guys share the podcast a lot. So thank you for sharing it on your socials.
Yes. And let us know
Telling
what
your
you thought of this
friends.
story. We love hearing the conversation. We wish we could be like, also, a lot of you also talk about your like group chats or like your girlfriends that you all talk about the episodes with. And I'm kind of like,
That's so cool.
I want to be in the
love
group
that.
chat.
But yeah, and we love you guys so much. Stay safe out there. Trust your femtuition.
Trust
as
your
per usual.
intuition. Love you, Mackenzie.
Bye.